Because Sparklight knows that faster is just better. Sparklight, a stronger connection.
970 WDAY AM and 93.1 FM, Fargo-Moorhead.
Hey, welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, along with meteorologist extraordinaire Justin Storm.
It's so good to hear you say it.
I bet it is. And our wonderful and talented Ag Director, Bridgette Readel. We want to thank everybody for joining us. And if you guys could tell, we've got a lot of visitors in the building today.
They are literally joining us today,
and
Dan.
we would love to have you come down and say hello. And we have our open house today till 5 o'clock. You can come down and watch Weather and Ag in Focus here live in studios. We've got chairs set up, and we've got snacks and beverages and the whole thing. Weather's not really a problem out there. A few snow showers, but roads are fine. So head on out here and say hi.
Right. Even if you can't stop into the studio and say hi and watch us live, you can always watch us live on Facebook or YouTube Live, as well as Acres TV.
Right, and we're giving away a bunch of prizes today too.
We are giving away
really
prizes.
Nice prizes.
Do you know I put my name in the cardboard box for a prize
for the rain gauge
for the prizes?
You probably did.
I took your name out.
What?
Just here to help.
Oh no! Well, I'm gonna go load the box up then because I have that power.
Put your son's name in there.
See, that's an idea.
See,
it's for him.
Exactly.
So you hang
in
out
12
with
years.
Because we're the smart ones.
But we've got a cold day out there, 21 degrees with a north wind at 14. There are some snow showers in Lakes Country moving westward, oddly enough. You don't see that too often. Also a few snow showers in the northern valley. So just scattered snow showers for the rest of the afternoon. A little breezier than it has been the last few days with north winds between 10 and 20. And temperatures really not going to budge a whole lot further from where they're at right now, low to mid 20s. And we're kind of in that pattern of on and off snow showers all the way through at least Friday, possibly into Saturday. But not a lot of snow with these little systems as they come through, but a little bit here, a little bit there. We could have 1 to 3 inches on the ground additional to what we have by about Friday or Saturday. Maybe a little bit more in Lakes Country, but yeah. So, and then wind comes along with this for Thursday and Friday. We're going to be dealing with a lot of blowing and drifting snow on Thursday and Friday.
Gross.
Yeah. Thursday and Friday's not going to be
We don't like
pretty.
the blowing snow.
I know.
We had enough last year, Dean. Shut it off.
Don't you remember? Oh, man.
You know what it is? And I saw an article about this online the other day. It's all the wind power plant, all the windmills in North Dakota. They're blowing all the snow around. Why would they do such a thing? Did they not think about it?
Hold on. I mean, I'm trying to make sure our guest gets on here today for
Does
our
this have to do with
120
HARP?
segment, but
Well, you already know we lost our security keys to get into there. And that's why we can't.
So
we had a month of nice weather, and they were like, and they took those codes away.
So we're cold.
And they won't let us in there. And now they turn the weather back on. The windmills are spinning. They're blowing all the snow around.
dude, the tinfoil hat you're wearing is a little too tight. This has got to stop.
Aliens visited me last night.
Goodness. We cannot let this kind of thing continue on. We are
Can you tell I didn't get any sleep last night?
Yeah, just slightly.
Yeah. Drive on, kids, drive on. We're going to drive on so far that we are going to go ahead and catch up with some news right now.
Please.
We will be back with Justin. Hopefully, we might put you under the desk for a nap, but we're going to bring everything back together. We're going to talk weather, ag headlines, and we have our guest today, Greg Kreiger. He is with North Dakota Grape Growers Association. We'll be talking grape production in North Dakota right after this.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. A top official in Ukraine says the situation is critical in Kyiv, where at least one person has been killed during this afternoon's barrage of Russian strikes on the power grid. A body was recovered from one of the several residential buildings hit. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky urging G20 nations to condemn the Russian invasion. ABC's Britt Clinnett is at the summit in Indonesia.
We've heard from Zelensky today addressing the G20, really saying it is time for world leaders to act. This is time for Putin to get out of his country, and he made that extremely clear. And at the same time, there are reports of attacks in Kyiv as well. So this war is ongoing, and certainly there has been a push from Zelensky for the world leaders to listen to him and to act.
President Biden skipping the final dinner of world leaders at the G20. The White House says he was not feeling well but does not have COVID. New warnings today about cyber attacks from other countries. FBI Director Christopher Wray before the House Homeland Security Committee on one nation in particular.
China's vast hacking program is the world's largest. and they have stolen more of Americans' personal and business data than every other nation combined.
Wray and the director of Homeland Security say China, Russia, and Iran are all becoming, quote, more aggressive, brazen, and capable in their cyber attacks. More layoffs are expected at a big tech company. This time it's at Amazon.
These are deep cuts. Tech giant Amazon planning to cut 10,000 employees starting this week, according to the New York Times. And this is the largest layoff in the company's nearly 30-year history. It's also something we've now been hearing from so many tech companies, including Facebook parent company Meta, Lyft, and Twitter post Musk's takeover.
ABC Chief Business Correspondent Rebecca Jarvis. Wholesale prices up 8% in October compared to a year ago, less than the previous month when they were up 8.4%. Dow's up 235. You're listening to ABC News.
Sail with American Queen Voyages, where history comes alive and discovery runs deep. Enriching adventures await in North America's mighty rivers, Great Lakes, oceans, and expeditions to the wilds of Alaska. Visit American Queen Voyages at aqvoyages.com, cruising North America now. Call 844-744-0794 or contact your travel professional. American Queen Voyages. Discovery runs deep.
Dad, I don't feel good.
I'll grab the Vicks DayQuil Kids Honey.
Isn't DayQuil just for parents?
Actually, Vicks DayQuil Kids Honey is just for kids, specially designed to treat kids' most bothersome cold symptoms quickly with a honeylicious tasting flavor kids like.
You know what else kids like?
DayQuil Kids Honey first, then video games.
Deal.
Vicks DayQuil Kids Honey. The kids' honeylicious daytime coughing, congestion, stuffy head, stuffy nose medicine. Safe for ages 6.
The big election is over, and America will never be the same. Washington is changing, but the big media is also changing. The rise of Newsmax is making a big difference. Newsmax is the 4th highest-rated cable news channel in America. Every day and night, I tune into Newsmax for the real news I can trust. I watch Rob Schmidt every night. Rob asks the tough questions. There's also Greta Van Susteren, Eric Bolling, Sean Spicer, and more. President Trump says Newsmax is really good. Tuesday night, President Trump is making a really big announcement. Get the latest about Trump's big announcement and Newsmax live coverage. Just text the word rally to 39747. That's rally to 39747. Find out the details of Trump's announcement. Text rally to 39747. Remember, millions are switching to Newsmax. I did, and you should too.
Brr, sounds like winter out there.
Did you just say?
Yep, they sure did, and it's coming. Hi, I'm Matthew, owner of Fix It Forward Auto Care. Winter's on the way, and it's time to get ready, including getting new all-weather tires designed specifically for our icy winter weather. Take advantage of our current rebates and availability, and our team can have you ready for winter today. Fix It Forward Auto Care, the name you trust for car repair.
Fix It Forward Auto Care.
Gobble up the savings on all remaining 2022 vehicles at Luther Family Buick GMC. Get 3.99% financing for 72 months on all new 2022 models, or 4.49% financing on all 2023 models. Gobble up the savings on our best selection of inventory we've had since 2021. Only at Luther Family Buick GMC, corner of I-29 and 32nd Avenue South, Fargo. We are professional grade.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for joining us either here live at our studios, which we're having our grand opening, or just listening to us on WDAY radio, or watching us also live on Facebook or YouTube Live, as well as Acres TV. A lot of fun things to do on the show today, and we're going to start off by taking a look at one of our ag topics for today. And this is kind of a favorite of mine. I love potatoes. French fries, anything with potatoes is my favorite. But what about GMO potatoes, and how could that ease food insecurities, Bridgette?
So we know that potatoes have sometimes had a black eye. folks have gone through the anti-potato phase. Now
I
we're
thought their
back
eyes were
to
white.
them. Oh, cute. Very cute.
I was going to say, I thought that either Dean or I have had a black eye before.
But by the end of the show, you might.
Well, we
Now,
probably will have two.
The reality is potatoes pack a punch. Look how I worked that in there, guys.
Hey,
I mean,
look at
it is
that. I
it is
love
dad
it.
joke
Man,
day
this
here.
is great.
Okay, so potatoes bring in, not as a carbohydrate, they bring in an awful lot of vitamin C. They're also going to give you potassium. And if you have a deep purple flesh potato, they give you the same antioxidants that you would usually find in fruits. So potatoes are very healthy, but they can't be grown in every portion of the world. And if they could be, because they are such a stable crop, or a staple of crop, they would be better received. People have better diets, that type of thing. So what's going on in research right now is potatoes are being used. They're working on them in a GMO setting, so they can modify them so they can be more drought tolerant, but also tolerant to late blight. Late blight is a potato disease. That's what caused the Great Potato Famine in Ireland in the 1800s. And so if we can have them show that tolerance to the disease, but also to drought conditions, and we can raise them in more areas in the world, you have an opportunity for people to have more nutrition, better diets. So potatoes could really be a way to fight hunger in a lot of places.
Do you think there's ever going to be a day where we're growing them in Antarctica?
Well, you saw the movie Mars where the guy had to do it indoors.
Yeah.
So there's always a possibility, right? But the thing I think about with potatoes, and when folks say I'm worried about GMOs, I want to go back to insulin. We have been using insulin. It was actually built through a genetically modified form versus just taking it from pigs and building our insulin from that. We've been doing that since 1982. So insulin is a GMO, and realistically, diabetics everywhere feel that that's a pretty big positive. We have to think about GMOs in a positive light, not just the fact that it has this negative connotation to it.
And I feel bad I got to ask this question because I just don't remember who our fabulous guest was a couple months ago, the potato expert. And he was like over in China setting up potato farms.
That was John Nordgaard. He works for has in the past. He retired now from Black Gold Potatoes up in Grand Forks, North Dakota.
We might have to see if he wants to come back on in the near future and talk a little bit more about potatoes, because this guy,
he knew it.
He knows more about potatoes than I know about a lot of other things.
And he's forgotten more than we'll know. Now, speaking of potatoes, we do so much potato research in North Dakota, which sounds ironic, except for the fact that we have some of the best soils for growing potatoes. But additionally, remember, Dr. Susie Thompson up at NDSU, she developed a potato that McDonald's now is favoring for their French fries.
Yes, that's right.
So those potatoes are coming from here as well. We're doing a lot of good work here.
We're doing lots of good. Those potatoes.
Absolutely. And I'm a fan, like you said, fried, French fries, bakes, all of those.
Vodka.
Right.
Yeah, there we go.
Don't forget that.
Right. That's, again, I know we like beer a lot, but let's not discount vodka. I mean, it's an agricultural crop.
Off topic, but the show has been off topic so far, except for that.
It really has.
Favorite vodka?
Tito's.
Tito's.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Hands
3 for
down.
3.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad to see we agree on something today, because we're going to be back to betting on the football game.
I grew up on Smirnoff, but I like Tito's now.
Oh, you poor soul.
I know.
It explains a lot.
Today it does.
I'm kidding.
Again, I just want to reiterate the fact that GMOs can be a very big positive in our world. We don't have to think about them negatively every time. So that's one good thing.
Another thing not to think negatively on, the forecast, Dean. It's not as bad as it possibly could be. And honestly, I don't think it's that bad out there today.
Yeah, it's a little breezy. North wind's about 15, but we've still got a few snow showers on radar, so we might have to dodge a little bit of that this afternoon. Shouldn't be a big deal, but following Wednesday, we've got a cold front coming through, and there is going to be the coldest air of the season diving into our area. Not only our area, but the Great Lakes. We'll have highs only in the teens, very windy conditions, and those winds are going to cause a lot of lake effect snow. Buffalo's supposed to get 2 to 3 feet over this weekend with those high winds going over the Great Lakes, causing that lake effect snow. Swell heights on the Great Lakes are going to be huge. So we're looking at...
How huge?
Oh, well, not as bad as the Edmund
Fitzgerald. Because that went down in like 76, 77.
But there's going to be some very windy conditions, and we're starting to see signs.
It's going to look a lot like Christmas?
That
it already looks like Christmas, Bridgette.
The LRC cycle it's almost ready to be set. We're just going to say that. We're not giving the cycle length this year. That was per Gary. He asked us not to give away that information. Now, when our weather special, which is going to be December 7th on the Jay Thomas Show. So put that on your calendar. We'll see if Gary will reveal the cycle length this year.
Okay, can I ask, why is the cycle length confidential? I mean, what does that do for us? What that determination, if it's 45, 60, et cetera, what kind of influence does that have?
In terms of giving the cycle length away?
Well, but when you say there's a difference in the length of the cycle, I mean, if I don't understand weather,
good
what does
question.
that mean?
All right, so the blizzard that came through last week.
Right.
Okay, so that same storm system will cycle back a couple times this winter and into spring. And if it's a 45-day cycle, you can find on the calendar when that storm hit, and it will cycle back 45 days later. If it's a 50-day cycle, then it's 50 days later, and so on and so on. And that would make a big difference on forecasting for, let's say, Christmas time.
Sure.
If it's a 45-day cycle, that thing's going to cycle back at a bad time for travel. Now, that doesn't mean each time it cycles back, it's going to be in our area, but it'll probably take a little different track. So it doesn't mean western part of the state's going to get hammered. Maybe it's us this next cycle. We'll see.
And I ask it every week. Don't forget, take my travel schedule, overlay it with the LRC. Make sure that the LRC does not negatively impact my travel, because it's about me, right?
Of course.
Indeed.
Of course. But we're starting to see signs of that set. We won't know for sure for a little while longer, but when we do, we'll just say, hey, the cycle is set, and then Justin and I will be putting together a calendar. Actually, let me rephrase that. Justin will be putting together a calendar.
Thank you. Truth be told.
Of when these storms will cycle back and the specific days in case anybody does have any travel plans.
Okay.
Yeah, so
lots of things to keep track of.
And don't forget to
very interesting.
Not
to
only the
say
LRC, you have to involve the chemtrails, because that will influence the weather patterns.
Yes, the chemtrails, the windmills, the aliens, and Bridgette. We'll make sure that the weather gets better as soon as we get those passcodes back from HARP, dang it. But we're going to take a short moment. We're going to get in contact with HARP, see if we can get those back to change the weather just a little bit. We're going to get our guest on the line in the meantime as well. Greg Kreiger, we're going to be talking about North Dakota wine and so much more. And we'd love for you to join the conversation and ask some questions if you have any. 701-293-9000, or you can always send those questions via email to weatherorag@flagfamily.com.
If you're looking for a great night's sleep, I'm going to give you two suggestions. First, go to Comfort King Mattress Factory. Second, support the community and go to Comfort King Mattress Factory. They'll make you the mattress that you want for your purposes. All the money that you spend will go back into the community. Isn't that what you want? It's a win-win.
You ever wonder who made your bed? Well, you should. And you should wonder what's inside of it. Come to Comfort King and we'll show you the who, what, where, when, and how.
Hey Fargo Moorhead, let us introduce ourselves. We're Brockmere Talent Stone, and we invite you to sprint on over to our amazing new showroom. You'll be pumped to see the countertops you can score. Brockmere Talent Stone has a selection of 10 stock quartz colors to offer a streamlined process and quick turnaround time. Brockmere Talent Stone, just south of Costco on Veterans Boulevard.
And yeah, we have white quartz with gray veining.
Granite and quartz, it's what we do, baby.
Hi, my name is Justina, and I am a junior at Fargo North. I moved here with my parents at an early age, and I plan to study business in college. The reason that I'm so hopeful about my future is Legacy Children's Foundation. I want to thank the amazing donors who are complete strangers to me. I'm amazed by the generosity. Because of them, Legacy youth receive resources and positive relationships to become educated leaders. Find out more at legacychildrensfoundation.com.
Hey listener, welcome to Limu's Karaoke Lounge, where Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need, and the music never stops. Hit it!
There's an emu with a full-time job. His partner's Doug, but Limu's the heartthrob. Grubs and worms, that's what Limu eats. Gotta fuel up to save you money and hit the streets.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Finding the right Medicare plan? Oof, no easy feat. Kind of like those dances my granddaughter loves making me do. But then I found Walgreens FindRx coverage. Lets you compare plans online, over the phone, or in person. Made Medicare shopping so easy. Plus, I found plans with low-cost copays. I can get down with that. When you need to talk Medicare, Walgreens is here. Start shopping today at walgreens.com/Medicare.
Gah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Uma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending Uma and their all-in-one phone, video, and collaboration solution.
Uma?
Yep. Switching to Uma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Uma.
Now you're feeling it. Visit Uma.com. That's OOMA.com to learn more. Uma. Smart communications for the smarter business.
Pucklet Chevrolet Buick GMC in Valley City makes it easy to find your next Chevrolet Buick GMC or pre-owned vehicle by offering a great selection at our best prices possible.
Welcome to WDAY Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Bridgette Readel, Ag Director, along with the crack meteorology team right here at WDAY, and that would include Dean Wysocki, our Chief Meteorologist, and Justin Storm, Meteorologist Extraordinaire.
Thank you.
We are so glad that folks are here. The halls are busy. We've got lots of folks milling around wanting to visit, see what these new studios look like. And we are thrilled that you're doing that. If you have questions as we go along today, please call us at 701-293-9000. We have a guest, though. He's on one of those lines. And we are very happy to have with us today Greg Kreiger. Greg is a crop consultant from the Galesburg, North Dakota area, but I also know Greg through the fact that he does a tremendous amount of work on grape production in North Dakota. He's been a part of the North Dakota Grape Growers Association. Pretty sure he knows how to make a little homemade wine, probably better than most of ours. And he's going to give us some good tips and instructions today. So Greg, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And how'd you get started raising grapes in North Dakota?
Yeah, hi, Bridgette. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, I've been interested in grapes for a long time. I planted a vineyard in 1998, and at that time we didn't know what varieties would grow well here, so I just planted a bunch of them, figuring some would winter kill, and I could plant more of the ones that did survive or thrive. The problem is they all survived, but not all thrived. And then after they started producing, okay, which ones make decent wine? And you know, it's been a long journey, but variety selection is our biggest challenge here, our variety availability. And fortunately, about 15 years ago, NDSU took a big leap and decided to try to develop some new varieties that would actually work in North Dakota. Our limitations here, of course, are the cold climate, you know, our winter lows, and our length of our growing season. So, you know, we do have some varieties that do well, you know, clear into Canada, but those varieties are really good for juice and jelly, but leave something to be desired in the wine quality department. They can be blended with other varieties, but we need something to blend with them. And so that's been a huge challenge. But the exciting thing is NDSU is getting close to patenting a couple of white varieties that are very hardy, very productive, and very hardy. So,
and Greg,
I spoke with a gal from. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Greg. Go ahead.
Spoke with a gal yesterday, and you know, it's a long process to patent a grape variety. She said there's some very extensive Excel spreadsheet they need to fill out. There's lots of detail on it, and I'm hoping we'll get them any day here, but it's been a long process, and it's still going to take a while, it sounds like. So.
And Greg, for those that don't know, what is the difference between the grapes that you're growing for wine production opposed to the grapes that you're going to buy in the store?
Well, the classic European grape is the species Vitis vinifera, and those are a lot of the table grapes and the wine grapes. When colonists arrived in North America, they found wild grapes growing here. They're much more cold hardy. They're much more intensely flavored. They got different disease resistances and pest resistances. And then for the table market, since we have seedless grapes, most people prefer those, but a lot of the grapes you grow for wine, you know, the seedlessness isn't a necessary trait. So.
How many of these grapes are you growing right now? I mean, like, what's the size of this vineyard? I mean, what's like, is it like a small or a large size vineyard and compared to the area?
I've got about 300 vines, and at one point I was up to about 30 varieties. You know, some were just, I'd have 1 or 5 plants of a variety just to trial it and see how they did. But some of those, after 10 years or so, you know, they're not cutting the mustard. So I removed several of them. And last year I planted a new variety that was released from the University of Minnesota in the recent years. It hasn't produced yet for me, but it's a real early maturing variety with some good winemaking potential. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that one turns out. And these ones from NDSU, I'm really excited to get my hands on some of those whenever they're released.
And with these 300 vines that you have, and I'm assuming that you're not using all 300 vines to make one batch of wine, as you had mentioned, you at least at one point had about 30 different varieties, but what's the yield look like on 300 vines of grapes? And of that you put into wine, how much wine are you getting out of those 300 vines?
In a perfect world, we should be getting 10 pounds per vine, or even 15.
Wow.
I've had plants produce up to close to 50 pounds just from one vine, but I've had far more plants produce less than 1 pound. So, and it just depends on the year.
Right.
This past year was a horrible production. 2021, still not my best year, but it was, I don't know if I could say I averaged 5 pounds per plant, or I haven't added it all up since, again, some plants were averaging 5 or 10 pounds, some were averaging 2 pounds, some varieties.
So Greg,
But last year was a vintage year.
So as we continue to visit about your grapes, and again, this is Greg Kreiger from Galesburg, North Dakota. Greg works with the North Dakota grape growers. Oh my gosh, Greg, grape growers. I got a lot to say here in one mouthful. But we are going to go to some commercials. We're going to come back after just a few minutes, Greg. A couple things I think that people are wondering about from you about your grape production is, first of all, what's the length of longevity of a vine? How long can you keep that in production? Is this like alfalfa, or after so many years, you need to get rid of that old vine, move on to a new plant?
So right, and how big do they get?
Exactly.
I have no idea.
Well, we'll have to compare. I mean, I have some in my yard, but not nearly what Greg's got. So we're going to talk about that right after this. Stay with us, and we'll return to talk about grapes and wine in North Dakota.
The Jay Thomas Show.
So they write me this big, long email. It's fine. Send me emails. But do this. Be an adult, okay? So they tell me in this email that they set up this account specifically. They don't want to put their name on it because they don't want me to know who they are. Even though they've known me for years and had many beers with me, but they don't want me to know who they are. What? Exactly. You know, I mean, come on.
Your home for the Jay Thomas Show is AM 970 and FM 93.1 WDAY.
Save now on premium mattresses, pillows, bases, and linens at Accord Comfort Sleep Systems directly across from Olive Garden. Find the best mattress design and construction with our exclusive technologies, such as our Accord Comfort Reflex Layer, ensuring proper spinal alignment. Our Thermodyne climate control fabric is perfect for the couple sleeping hot and cold. Buy today and take it home today, or free delivery in the FM metro area. Accord Comfort Sleep Systems. You're going to love sleeping with us.
This is Del Ellison with Sun Control and Decorative Films of Fargo. When you have to close your window blinds because the sun is heating up your room or shining on your TV and computer screens, it's time to call Sun Control. At home, at work, or at the lake, we'll help you get rid of those sunny day hot spots that cause inside temperatures and cooling costs to rise. Our solar window films reduce the sun's harsh glare so you can see your screens clearly. Enjoy your view with Sun Control. Call 701-298-9658 or visit us at scfargo.com.
The famous chips. The potato chip, the chocolate chip, the computer chip, the poker chip, the paint chip, and the windshield chip. Glass Doctor of Fargo Moorhead wants to remind you that the difference in temperature outside and inside your vehicle can make a little chip grow into a real budget buster. So make your repair or replacement appointment today at Glass Doctor of Fargo Moorhead. Call or go online at glassdoctor.com/Fargo. That's glassdoctor.com/Fargo.
Call the Glass Doctor, we'll fix your paint.
Are you suffering from neuropathy? Do you experience stabbing, numbness, tingling, or burning in your feet? Are you tired of sleepless nights and avoiding life due to pain? If you've been diagnosed with neuropathy or have pain or numbness in your feet, call us right now before it's too late at 701-929-7505. Again, 701-929-7505. Neuropathy is a very serious and progressive disease where your nerves start to break down. It can lead to balance problems, complete loss of independence, and in some cases, amputation. Our program addresses the underlying causes and doesn't simply mask your symptoms with medication. In fact, many patients start to feel relief from their symptoms within weeks. There's no surgery and no use of prescription drugs. Pick up the phone and call now at 701-929-7505 or find out if you're a candidate for our neuropathy program that has changed thousands of lives. Call us today at 701-929-7505.
What do you tell folks when they ask who your insurance agent is and why?
DJ's great. His practice has been not just an insurance agent, but also there's a friendship there. They are very open about their communications with their clients. They want to do everything they can to help their clients. I've got multiple policies with him: auto, home, life insurance, an umbrella policy. Anything and everything you need insurance-wise, you can get from DJ Coulter Insurance.
DJ Coulter, American Family Insurance, 235-6641, djcoulter.com.
Don't have a blue Christmas this year? Gather up the family, hop in the car, and go see the holiday lights at the Red River Valley Fairgrounds. A drive-through light show that everyone will enjoy, and this year's show is bigger and better than ever. Buy your tickets online and save. The holiday lights will run through the holiday season until New Year's Eve. Make this a holly jolly Christmas with a visit to the holiday lights at the Red River Valley Fairgrounds and start a magical holiday tradition. Brought to you by Christmas Decor and Cass County Electric.
Welcome to WDAY Weather and Ag in Focus. Thrilled that you were here with us, both literally in the studio as well as listening today. I'm Bridgette Readel, Ag Director, along with Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki and Meteorologist Extraordinaire Justin Storm. And on the air with us today as a guest, we have Greg Kreiger. Greg is from Galesburg, North Dakota. Greg is a crop consultant, but he also spends a great deal of time in grape production. He's worked with the North Dakota Grape Growers Association, and he's given us quite the education in grapes, and probably we're going to talk a little bit about wine today. So, Greg, before we went to hear some commercials, I asked a question about the longevity of the vine. How long will they be active? Are they like an alfalfa crop where after so many years you've got to get rid of them and put new vines in? What's your determination there?
Well, I wouldn't know from firsthand experience yet, but I understand a vine can live for maybe 100 years or more. Mine are 25 years old, some of them, the ones I haven't dug out yet, but I've heard of ones in Europe that are, 100 plus years old. So,
oh, wow.
Grapes start producing on their third year after planting, and then they can remain productive indefinitely.
Wow. And how tall do these grow? I mean, are we talking that something just kind of goes up about 4 feet and then out by 5 feet, or are these, I can't imagine how tall they can get to produce 15, 20 plus pounds of grapes in a season, especially here in North Dakota.
Well, mine are on an 8 by 10 foot spacing, 8 feet between plants and 10 feet between rows. And my trellises are, some I have at 5 feet high and some are 6 for the top wire. Some varieties in challenging conditions only get to the lower wire, which is about 3 feet off the ground. But some varieties can, a vigorous variety that has adequate nutrients and moisture can put on 20 feet of growth in a year easily.
Wow.
But we do a lot of pruning.
I can imagine you do.
So a couple of things to ask as well is, what about pests, deer, rabbits? Do they like grapes more than they like wrecking my oak tree? Is there anything there to it that they find them any tastier, or do anything to deter them from your many vines?
For most grape growers, I'd say their number one problem is birds. When the grapes are red, the birds start visiting the vineyards, and they will keep nibbling away, and sometimes big flocks show up. Mm-hmm. Netting the vines is a must. Grapes are not ready to pick until about a month after they turn red. This is for the red ones, but birds are a huge problem. Deer can be a huge problem. We did get a dog here a few years ago to keep the birds out of our the deer of our yard more.
And how does the weather play in effect? What's like when I think of growing grapes for wine, I'm thinking California, Napa Valley, over in Europe. What kind of climate do these things really thrive in? I know that we have bred and engineered these grapes to be a little more suitable for our climate, but what's like an ideal season for these grapes look like? Do they like it wet, dry, hot, cool?
Grapes like it warm, so I compare them a lot to corn. In fact, I use the end-on heat units on the end-on station for the heat units for corn as a very good predictor of when grapes are going to be ripe. It's very crucial to pick the grapes at the right time, because once they're picked, the quality only goes down from there. You can't make a good quality wine from a poor quality grape, but you can make a poor quality wine from a good quality grape. So it's crucial to start in the vineyard with as good a quality as you can get. And that starts with looking at the heat units. Some of our reds, they need about 2,300 heat units to be ripe. In 2021, I was harvesting my grapes in the before the middle of September, and just because it was so warm. In 2022, it was the second week in October. So, 3 weeks later to try to get to the similar level of ripeness.
How did all the water this spring affect your vineyard? With, a lot of people were having preventative planting was one thing, but late to get into the ground just because they couldn't get out there. And obviously your plants are already established in the ground. What did all that extra water this spring do to your crop?
Yeah, that's the nice thing about having a perennial crop, is that you don't have to worry about planting conditions every year. But yeah, it's very crucial to put grapes on a well-drained site, because they cannot tolerate standing water. So my site is very well drained. In fact, it's it's excessively well drained. So the high rain this spring did not bother them, but the dry summer sure did. So I had a reduced crop. Had some varieties that extremely reduced berry size just because of the dry weather. I'd like to have irrigation, but we don't have enough water supply here yet.
And Greg, for those that don't know, me being one of them, what are the steps from harvesting the grapes, so picking the grapes, to making that into wine? How many steps are involved in that, and how long does that actually take?
Well, the first thing is picking them at the right time, and to do that, we check for the sugar content. We use something called a refractometer, which is if you put a single drop of juice on the lens, you squish it out, hold the eyepiece up to your eye, and there's a line that appears across it and tells you what the percent sugar is. So you want about 24% sugar for a lot of varieties. There are certain varieties where you can be down in the teens or even in lower teens for percent sugar. We can always use the pH meter, because we like our pH around 3.2 to 3.4 for reds, maybe 3.1 for whites. If a crop has a pH of 2.9, that's going to be a pretty tart wine. We can add extra sugar, but dealing with improper pH is quite a problem. So after they're picked at the right time, run them through a crusher destemmer, which removes the stems from the clusters and it breaks every berry. White wines are pressed at that point and just the juice is fermented, but red wine is fermented on the skins. So you get some color extraction and flavor from the seeds and skins and the few stems that might be in there, and a lot of body and so on. The fermentation takes from about a week for the primary, and then it's transferred to a secondary fermenter. A lot of there's a lot of sediment that comes out, and yeast, dead yeast that settles to the bottom. Secondary fermenter, maybe 2 weeks. it could be 4 weeks, whatever. And the wine clarifies just on its own. The solids settle out, and wine becomes generally becomes hopefully it clarifies well, and you don't get a cloudy wine. That doesn't happen. That's not a big problem with our grape wines. It's more of a fruit wine problem.
Well, Greg, I feel like we not only need this explanation, and I've seen you demonstrate some of your items for folks who are watching via our live stream. You're going to be able to see some of the things that Greg's been talking about. But anytime you want to come in and demonstrate and bring some samples, this group is ready for you. We are all open to that. That'd be awesome. And so we had someone here in our last couple of moments that we're together, we had someone send a message wanting to know your thoughts on a private grape breeder by the name of Tom Polcher. Have you worked with him? Are you familiar with the work he's done with cold hardy grapes in Minnesota? And is that something where you're using some of his varieties?
Yep, Tom Plocker from Hugo, Minnesota has been a very instrumental in a lot of the cold climate grapes around the world, and he's kind of taken off where Elmer Swenson left off. A lot of our varieties date from Elmer Swenson's work, and what's being done at NDSU is building on both of those. Tom has released a couple of varieties, high quality red wine varieties, Petite Pearl and Crimson Pearl, and a third one. But I've got two of those. I wish they were more hardy than they are. They make good wine, but on low vigor sites, they're a low vigor variety, so they need good fertility, good moisture. I've got some in two different locations, and on the higher vigor site, they do much better. So, knowing what varieties work on what ground is very important, I think. So, but Tom does, he's got some good stuff. I wish it were more hardy though for our region.
Excellent.
Right. And I imagine that you're only distilling the wine one time per year, after every harvest in the fall, late summer to fall. How much wine are you producing every year?
I've supplied wine to a number of wineries. I don't have a wine license myself, so or I've supplied grapes to a number of wineries, but it varies. I think I haven't made any yet this year, I guess, but I've got friends that like to dabble in it, and I think it's been quite a while since I've made more than 50 gallons in a year, but I still have some of that. I find we drink the good stuff, and the bad stuff, it just accumulates in the basement.
Well, if you want to give the bad stuff away, I know of a disposal site for it.
Are you calling us a disposal site?
I think he is.
I think he is. I think he is. Greg, we so much appreciate you being with us today and sharing all the information that you have about the North Dakota, what you're doing to raise grapes in North Dakota, but also North Dakota Grape Growers Association. So just curious, if you could share with us, how could people reach out to the association and give us further information?
Well, so, I was one of the charter members of the North Dakota Grape Growers Association, and about, 10 years ago, at the request of one of our winery members, we changed our name to the North Dakota Grape and Wine Association, so ndgwa.org. So you can go there for more information. Through NDSU, we've got a listserv that's very good for disseminating information, to everybody on the listserv. We got an annual conference coming up in February out in Dickinson. It's February 3rd and 4th. So if anybody happens to be in Dickinson at that time, it's a lot of fun. We're a very welcoming group. We got members from all corners of the state. And
welcoming. You're serving wine. How could that be a bad day, Greg?
And Greg, before you go, we just had a caller call in, and he wanted to know. I think we've got time for this quick question. How do the growers go about keeping their grapes safe from birds? Do you spray, or what exactly do you do?
Nope. We use bird netting. Buy 1,000-foot bales of bird netting, or 2,000-foot bales. It's long rolls of netting. We just drape it over every row, and it's I think once birds see it, they kind of fly on by. But if they see other birds feasting there, they'll stop. And when the robins and blue jays are migrating, and orioles, man, they really like grapes.
I bet they sound tasty.
Yeah, I got one last one too before we head on out of here. How do you harvest the grapes? Is this all done by hand, or do you have a machine that does it?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a lot of hand labor. The pruning is by hand. The harvest is by hand. The crusher destemmer was a huge labor-saving device when got one of those. But in large production areas, they do have mechanical harvesters, but we're not quite to that stage yet.
Right. So 300 vines by hand. Are we talking like 1 week, 2 week, 1 day? I don't know. What's that look like?
With a crew, we can get it done in an afternoon. It just
cool.
Like so this year wasn't a very big crop, so my wife and I did it all ourselves. But other years we've had, when we had kids in college, sometimes their friends would come out and we had a lot of fun with the
I see
college kids picking grapes.
Justin's going to want you to call him next summer. He wants to help.
And Greg, one of our listeners, Michael, he said he wanted us to see if you knew this joke. What did the grape say when it got stepped on? Nothing. It gave out a little wine.
Sympathy chuckle there.
Sympathy, that's a sympathy chuckle for sure.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Greg Kreiger. He is from Galesburg, North Dakota. He is a crop consultant, but also has been National Association of Independent Crop Consultants Consultant of the Year. And so Greg can not only help you talk about wine, he can help you talk about a lot of crop in the area. So thank you again, Greg. We appreciate it. And folks, we're going to catch up with the American Ag Network, and we'll be back after that.
Primetime Sports is back on WDAY Radio.
It's going to be something really special. I just know it is.
We'll be bringing you the biggest sports stories and news each weeknight.
It's much more than a game.
Plus, everything you need to know in the sports world.
If there's, inside knowledge that I have, personal knowledge that I have, I'll add that to the mix.
It's Primetime Sports with myself, Big Game, James McCarty, weeknights from 6:30 to 8 p.m. right here on AM 970 and 93.1 FM, WDAY Radio.
When the weather cooperates here in the valley, our instinct is to race outdoors and work on that honey-do list. As you mow the lawn, you notice that your steps have shifted, the driveway is beginning to crack, and your new addition is sinking. Hi, Gus here with Precision Concrete Cutters in Ramjack North. Whether it's polyjacking or piers, we have a solution. Call us at 701-280-7038. That's 280-7038.
It's Jay and Ronnie from the Coffee Club, and we love MyPillow. We absolutely love the Giza Dream Sheets, made with the world's best cotton, grown only in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. Its long staple cotton makes it ultra soft and breathable.
Yeah, let me tell you, this 400 thread count, they are fantastic sheets. They are warm when you need to be warm. They are cool when you need to have very thin layer between you and the mattress. It is a fantastic sleep with Giza Dream Sheets. 60-day money-back guarantee, machine washable and durable, and a 10-year warranty.
Available in multiple colors, styles, and sizes. All right now for a great low price of $29.99 with promo code WDAY. All you need to do is go to MyPillow.com, go to Listener Radio Special Box, put in the promo code WDAY. MyPillow.com, go to Listener Radio Special Box, put in the promo code WDAY.
Promo code WDAY.
Late pop seen in the grain markets. We finish moderately higher. You're listening to the American Ag Network. I'm Jesse Allen with this closing market update. Well, we had a fairly quiet day going in the grain trade, but late in the session we found some buying support amid reports that Russia has set off numerous missile attacks against Ukrainian cities, which has been described by BBC News as one of the biggest barrages of missiles yet. That seems to be the only news that I could really find here towards the end of the session that gave us the pop across the grain sector. That raises more questions about whether the Russia-Ukrainian grain export deal will be extended beyond the 19th. Reports this morning suggested that Russia and Ukraine were nearing in on an agreement, but that remains to be seen now with this latest attack. We'll be watching the markets closely here as we move into midweek to see what happens, but a decent day across corn, beans, and wheat. Livestock trade We saw us back off the highs with grain shooting back to the upside, but lean hogs held on to some premium as we went through the session on Tuesday. Final numbers on Tuesday: December quart up 9.5, 666 3/4. March quart up 10, 669 1/4. January beans up 60 3/4, 1457 1/4. March up 17, 1461 3/4. December bean meal up 390 a ton, 409.90. December bean oil up 70 points, 76.98. Chicago wheat December 9 3/4 higher, 828 1/4. March up 9 3/4 at 848. Kansas City wheat December up 6 3/4 at 963. Spring wheat Minneapolis December up 11.5, 974 1/2. And spring wheat for March, that was up 8 3/4, 982 1/2. Lean hogs December up 45, 85 32. February up 110, 90 07. Feeder cattle November down 127, 175 67. January down 242, 177 02. December live cattle down 30, 151 27. February up 50, 153 05. You're listening to the American Ag Network. I'm Jesse Allen reporting.
They'll have you laughing right along with them. They're Bonnie and Friends.
Were you yelling at kids on your lawn last night too?
No, but sat there with the with everything.
Shotgun?
No, everything. What are you trying to finish my sentence with the wrong word? I'm telling you. My gosh, first, and this is the sad part. The first thing that comes to your mind is that about me.
That's what I should do every time you stop at something. I'm going to try finishing your sentence.
Thank you very much. That ought to be quite a show.
Bonnie and Friends. Catch them weekday mornings beginning at 5.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. We want to thank everybody for joining us today. And if you're just tuning in, we have our open house here at the WDAY studios on Thunder Road. It's right next to Thunder Road, the little go-kart track, and you can't miss our building, big glass building, and it's gorgeous, gorgeous setup. So we're inviting you out. We've got free snacks. We've got a little lunch for you. We've got some beverages as well, and we're giving away a couple of great prize packages. So you want to come on down here, register for that. You can watch our shows live. Jay Thomas' show will be coming up here in about 6 minutes, and you can sit in on his show if you want as well. But let's touch on quickly national weather, as we've got, much of the lower 48 really under some cold conditions here, as we've had snow as far south overnight. Areas of Arkansas and Oklahoma picked up 7 to 8 inches down there, which is a lot for them.
I got some complaints from friends in Missouri saying, really? You guys could have kept it up there? I have a daughter
Missouri up through Illinois.
It spilt over.
Yeah, a daughter in Oklahoma. She said, I left because you have ice and snow. What'd you do? Not my fault. I'll take it to work and complain.
Yep. And we've had a few light snow showers and snow flurries throughout the area here. Still a little bit on radar out towards Detroit Lakes and just to the west of Grand Forks, southwest of Grand Forks, some light snow showers. And we'll continue to see those. Again, they're on the light side,
right.
So half inch or less out of that. And many areas not getting much more than a dusting. But we've got quite a few more chances for light snow and flurries from now through Saturday. Before all that's said and done, we'll probably have an additional 1 to maybe some spots as much as 3 inches. But the winds are really going to kick up on Thursday and Friday, producing a lot of blowing and drifting of the snow, especially the areas that got the heavier amounts, and depending on how much falls here over the next few days.
But it's all that light and fluffy, feathery stuff out there.
That's easy to blow around.
Really easily.
Yep, super easy to blow around. So road conditions will probably deteriorate towards the end of the week, Thursday and Friday, and then it stays cold, highs only in the teens. That's way below normal for this time of the year, and then only warming up into the 20s as we head into a late weekend, early next week. We're seeing some signs that we might warm up after Thanksgiving. There's going to be a pretty healthy storm to our south Thanksgiving week. Right now, it still looks like it's going to stay to the south. So, in fact, that's been kind of the prevalent storm track with these systems diving in off the Pacific Northwest, either undercutting a big ridge out off the West Coast and then skirting down through the southern tier of the U.S. If that continues to hold throughout the winter, then parts of the southern plains going to have quite a winter, which they need the moisture.
They need the moisture.
That's not a bad thing.
There's, again, 65% of the country needs the moisture right now as far as, what's going to be dry and how far east is it going to move.
Exactly. But other than that, we've a lot of lake effect snow setting up in lee of the Great Lakes, where as cold Arctic air rushes in from Canada, the lake waters are still in the 50s.
Yeah.
That's great conditions for lake effect snow, where some areas, upstate New York, Buffalo areas, 2 to 3 feet. Winter storm warnings, northeastern Indiana. Even along the Iron Range into the Arrowhead of Minnesota, they're going to pick up quite a bit of snow that away as well. So other than that, like I said, we're looking at just minor amounts of snow around here.
But these falling temperatures, all the ice fishermen out there, they're licking their chops
Aren't
with
they?
the facts
Get
that
that ice
we're
fro-
going to get some
Yep.
nice clear ice, which is important. You want quality ice. You don't want it all insulated up. And so that's going to be great. Soon after we get to the first of the year, I'll talk about agronomy on ice and the fact that we want good ice for that too.
Exactly. Want to hit a couple ag topics?
Yeah, why don't we dive over there before I take us off the rails again?
Please, we got to keep you under control today. What you got for me?
Oh, why don't we talk about this AgVisor Pro app and how to find an expert?
So I can show this. I can show you on my phone. This is a pretty cool app. And if let's say you have questions, what in any area of agriculture, horticulture, for forestry, general agronomy, livestock, you can sign up free and ask questions. So I know that we have Randy Nelson, our Clay County Extension educator, on very regularly, but maybe you don't want to wait until Randy's on the next time. You don't want to forget that question. You could sign up for the app, you can ask your question, and it pairs you with a list of experts in that particular area who can come back, answer questions, or do a Q&A with you to really determine what your needs might be. It so happens I'm on there as one of the experts. There's certain areas that I'm more prevalent in talking about. I'm really good with weed control, pests and disease. I'm not very good at forestry. Those are tall trees. That's pretty much my assessment. So
You can tell that this is an oak tree because of the way that it is.
Yes. And the squirrel ate all the acorns, but not that I'm upset about that, but I am. That happened in my yard. Nonetheless, you could use the AgVisor Pro app for that, and it's very helpful. Just in the fact that it's one more front for people to get information, right? We know there's an app for everything. And this one is very good in the agronomy and agricultural world.
And you said that was a paid membership through there?
Nope, free.
Oh, it is free.
You should be free on there. Yes.
Look at that.
You guys could be weather experts on there. Did you think about that? You could sign up and be experts on that app.
Is there a way that the experts, is there a way that they get anything out of it?
You get fame and recognition.
Hey, look at that.
I like it.
Dean, we could expand our audience.
You could.
Across the entire upper Midwest and southern Canada?
Yes.
To a little bit further.
To more.
You could become famous.
I'm already famous, Dean. Come on.
Here he's going off the rails, Bridgette.
I went through the grocery store the other day. Yeah, we better.
He's going off the rails, and we've got 15 seconds
That's
left.
going to do it for Weather and Ag in Focus today. We thank you very much for joining us. Remember, you can always find us on Facebook or YouTube. Just search Weather and Ag in Focus, as well as on Acres TV. We'll be back tomorrow, 1 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The Jay Thomas Show is coming up here next.
970 WDAY AM.